Alright, what's up everybody? This is the fourth day of wheat harvest or grain harvest or whatever you want to call it. I've always called it grain harvest and grain, but apparently most people call it wheat and wheat harvest. So, well, whatever you want to call it, this is the fourth day. I'm rushing down the field to get to Christopher before he gets full. One problem with that is there's this line of pipe between him and me. So I hope I can get close enough, because now we're cutting the other direction, so I wouldn't be able to empty him on that on the way back over there. So hopefully I can get close enough to empty him here in a minute so he doesn't fill up before he gets to the other end. Well, he just gave me a hand signal that he thinks he can make it back to the other end, so I will just let him go. Go, be free, you wild Fendt combine, and I'll see you on the other end. All right, now he's full, so we're gonna empty him out here. See if I can, a little too far back. Let me scoot forward just a little bit more. It's hard to get the speed just right. There is a system where the GPS and stuff can link with the combine and they can go the same speed and everything, so you wouldn't have to adjust the speed and all that. Actually, so the guy who came out, I think his name's Ricky Dugan, he was telling us about, he's the Fendt guy who's helping us get this set up on the first day. He was telling us that they're testing over in the Midwest somewhere, that he was driving a combine and they had two grain cart tractors and two grain carts, and they were autonomous. So there was nobody in the cab, and when the combine needed a grain cart, he'd push a button on an iPad and the grain cart would just drive over to the combine, load up, and then it would drive back to where the semis were, and then the truck drivers would dump they would hop in the grain cart and they'd go dump it in the truck. But that's crazy that they have autonomous grain carts. But I mean, with technology and all the advancements, I can only expect something like that to happen eventually. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually a lot of farming equipment and tractors and stuff is all autonomous, just because there's less and less farmers every year. Farming is hard. It's hard to make money. So there's less people that want to farm, and if we can just make some things autonomous, it makes everything easier. We are stopped again, but not because something broke this time, because we have parts finally. So yesterday there's a little box about right here that just controls the sieves and stuff from the outside of the combine, and that was doing something funky, and it was causing the sieves to close randomly and causing the ladder was like moving back and forth. But we have agri-service out here, and they had another combine just like this one, and because they couldn't get the part for about a week, they just took it off of their other combine that was sitting in their yard, and they're gonna put it on. So it's nice to have a dealer that's willing to get you what you need as fast as you can so that you can get running again. So, I mean, the combine's been working, but every once in a while it just closes the sieves and makes the ladder go all weird and whatever. But yeah, so he's out here, he's actually in the cab, and he's gonna put this on so we can get going, and hopefully that solves all the issues. This is the little box. It's just a little box back here underneath the shield where you can adjust your sieves, you can move your ladder, you also can turn your lights on and off and stuff. And they said that in the old ones, because this is a 2022 combine, I think, there's a glitch in here that causes that to happen. So he brought out a new one. This is from a brand new combine, and supposedly they fixed all the problems with it. So he's gonna take this one out and put this one in, and hopefully that solves all their problems. Okay, well, he just got that little box replaced with the new one. So now he's checking it to make sure that it's gonna work. And then we'll get going again. We don't have very much left of this field. Just a few rounds, and then we'll be moving to the next one. Okay, well, they got it all back together. They're gonna go see how it goes. I gotta go hop in the grain cart because he's just about full. This thing revs up, it sounds like a jet engine. just stopped. Sorry if it's a little windy. He's out here with the agri-service salesman. Man, got something in my throat. Probably some grain dust. But it looks like they're just checking to see if there's any grain loss.
There's a couple.
Looks like there's just a couple. All right, so what they're doing is looking on the ground for grain. I guess after we put that little box on that we just replaced, we were supposed to recalibrate it. We didn't know. We don't even know how. So when Christopher got out here to the field to trade Josh off, the grain was hitting the truck. So it was leaking a lot of grain out because it wasn't recalibrated, and the sieves were closed, and it was just dumping a lot of, not all the grain, it was dumping a lot of it out the back. So they recalibrated it, and now we're back to searching and searching. I only found one. I think once I found 2 kernels. But, so we're back to where it should be with almost no loss. Yeah, we're gonna get back going here. We have a lot of grain to do. Okay, well, with this last little strip he's got on the edge, we will be done with this field. So we'll be moving to another field. Josh is down at the other end of the field. The header trailer is right there. So I'm gonna drive down there and probably have him dump the rest of the grain that he has into my cart, and I'll go dump it into a truck, and then we'll head over to the next field. All right, we made it. Oh my goodness, that was a big bump. Good night. Woo! Well, I'm off the road. I'm gonna stop. We made it. Combine made it. Header made it. So we're gonna get all this hooked up. Actually, we have to run back to the other field and get our vehicles, and then we'll come get this hooked up and get going. Well, they just got the header hooked up. We haven't hooked up any of the drive shafts or anything. Man, it is windy today, so sorry about that. It's probably loud in the microphone. But we gotta get the drive shafts hooked up and the hydraulics and electronics hooked up. I'll show you how we hook that up right now, because I haven't showed you guys that yet. So that's the port where the electronics hook up. Just hook the drive shaft up.
You gotta remember to put this down, that locks the header on.
Oh yeah, don't want to forget that little lever right there. So this just plugs in. And locks on. And then you're good to go. There's one more drive shaft on the other side just like this, but that's all that it takes to hook this big header up onto this beast. Just unfolded the bin. We're gonna get going here. The semis are lining up on the road to get in here, so we got to cut along the ends so they have somewhere to pull in. Oh, don't hit me. Now I just follow him along the edge of the field until he gets full. This field has some gravelly patches that are a little drier. This right here is a lot drier because the pivot doesn't hit it. So that's basically dry land wheat. But the rest of this pivot should be pretty good. Vent. Well, I was just about to unload Christopher and he plugged the header. So the reason we keep plugging the header is just because we're trying to cut as low as we can to keep all of the straw, because we can bale the straw and sell it. But it keeps plugging the header up if we go a little bit too fast. So every once in a while we have to, it has a creep mode where you can go, it can go nice and slow and you reverse it. You just have to reverse it and feed it. It's only plugging the header. It's not plugging the feeder house or the rotors or anything, just the header. but most of the time it works great. But every once in a while we get a plug like this. We'll see if it'll feed in. There it goes. It would work a little bit better if the opening on the header that pulls it in was a little bit wider, because the opening on the feeder house is wider. So it could use a bigger opening on that header. And maybe one of the honeybee headers would have a bigger opening, but this one doesn't. All right, I'm just loading into a truck now. This field, I'm not sure what the yield is. I'll have to call Christopher and see what it's yielding. But he's not getting quite full. The lights aren't even coming on when he gets back to me. So I was able to get 3 dumps of the combine in here because they weren't full loads in the combine. Barely fit. But I should be able to fill this entire semi in one shot. We'll see. I'll bring you back when I'm getting close to the end. We'll see if I can get it in one shot. All right, well, we're getting near the end. We're over halfway. I'm not sure, but I think we can fill them. It's gonna be close. Starting to run down. I think he's full enough that he can take it in. We're just gonna get every last little bit out of this grain cart. And I think that's about it. Shut this off. Shut this off. That'll do. One truck full. All right, so on this field, the yield is lower. We're hopefully we'll average about 100 bushels to the acre on this field, but he says that this field is very gravelly. So if I just look at the ground right here, it's like you can just see all the rocks. It's like when there's rocks just on top, it is very gravelly ground, especially like right here. You can see all the rocks right there. So it's a very gravelly field, which makes it poor soil. And even if you look across here, you may not be able to tell. You can see the darker spots and the lighter spots. The lighter spots are where there's good soil, but the darker spots is where it's gravelly and the water just soaked through, so it didn't get as good watering. So that's why we're having a little bit less. He's not able to get quite as full going from one end to the other as he was in the past fields. This is probably one of our worst fields as far as gravelly ground goes, but the yield should definitely pick up as we get into other fields. We have some fields that are really, really good ground, and we're hoping they're really good yields. Right now I'm zipping through the field at a good 12 miles an hour. We got over to the pivot. There's the pivot. And Christopher just went past it, so I'm gonna go move the pivot, start moving the pivot this way so we can get it out of the way so we can finish all of this weed over here. So let's go move the pivot. All right, well, I just hope this pivot will move. Again, sorry for the wind. Oh, because this pivot has given me trouble all year. So let's see what we can do. All right, I want to turn on a park. Come on, park. At, let's go 85. Nope. Not 85. At, oh, let's see, 355. Done. There, now we have a line right there. We're just gonna reverse it and start. change this speed to 100. And actually, we're just gonna park it at 358. Done. Because I don't want it to come too far this way and get into where we're cutting, so I just want it to go right there. And then we can move it a little bit more once we cut a little bit more, but it is moving slowly, but it is going. All right, if you look way over there, you can see the combine and the grain cart. Trevor just traded me off for the day. Sorry about the wind, but I'm gonna go home. So if you made it this far in the video, just remember, we're doing 2 giveaways. So down in the description below, there'll be a form that you can go put your name on to get a chance to win 300 bucks. And then we're doing another giveaway that if you're any good at designing logos or anything, this is our current logo, make a logo for the channel, send it to my email, which is also down in the description, and we'll pick the best one and we'll send you 300 bucks too. So check those out. I love you. I'll see you in the next one.